This video is a tutorial on rewrapping the Genis Rite of Spring mallets. The type of stitch on this mallet is a modified cartwheel stitch. This video can be applied to the TG9 Rite of Spring mallet. When you order your felt recovering kit, you'll receive a pair of outer felts. If you ordered the cuticle scissors, you'll receive a pair of those as well. The following two items can be bought at any local hardware store. First, some crazy glue. Second, a pair of heavy-duty gardener's gloves. And the last item can be bought from any percussion specialist like Steve Weiss, which is a timpani voicer. When you remove your old covering, take your cuticle scissors, place them at the bottom of the shaft, underneath the red felt, and snip. There was only one layer, and there was no inner layer underneath, except for a small bit of moleskin, as you can see. This video is the same type of stitch as the Gen 4 cartwheel video, which you can refer to as well. The felt has threads coming from the top and from the bottom. Stretch out the felt a little bit by putting your index fingers in the middle of the felt and rolling like so. Then take your stick, shimmy the felt onto the mallet like so that the felt is even on the mallet from top to bottom. Separate your top and bottom threads, and you'll have 4 pieces of thread coming out of the top, which is where we'll start. One set of threads has a knot, the other set of threads does not. Separate those. Now with your right hand, you're going to pull and start to close the top portion of this mallet, like so. Don't close it all the way, leave a little bit of room, and then just leave it. We're just getting the mallet started. Now, do the same thing with the bottom threads. Separate them so that the knotted set of threads goes to the left, and the unknotted set of threads goes to the right. The other set of threads can be put aside for now. Take the string without the knot and pull to the right, like so. You'll then need to squeeze the felt with the left hand, close it up a little bit more, and pull as you squeeze. When the threads get too tight, put on the garden glove, wrap the thread around the index finger, and pull so that the felt gets securely around the shaft. You're going to pull very hard with this and pull to the right. Once you've got the tension, keep it with the right hand, like so. Take the other set of threads, form a loop, come around and underneath, and tie 3 knots, trying to keep the tension while you do all this. You want to tie around 5 or 6 knots. You can remove the garden glove once you've tied a few, and then tie a couple more knots perhaps. Once you have 6 knots, take your cuticle scissors, cut off the excess thread, leaving about 1/4 inch. Dab a little bit of crazy glue onto the knot. Take the cuticle scissors and shove that knot and all those excess threads underneath the felt so that you can't see it. Be careful not to cut the threads by accident. Now, go to your top set of strings at the top of the mallet. Separate the threads. Take your glove, wrap around the index finger, and start to pull. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze with your left hand, pull with the right hand, until the hole at the top closes up. Once you've gotten the proper firmness, you have to hold the tension with the right hand and tie a knot with the left hand. Do this 3 or 4 times. And once you're done with that, you can take off the glove and tie 2 or 3 more. Again, I would tie at least 6 knots. Once you've tied all your knots, take a little crazy glue, dab it on the knot, Take your cuticle scissors, cut off the excess thread. Leave about 1/4 of an inch. Take your cuticle scissors and shove the threads underneath the felt, being careful not to accidentally cut the thread. Inspect the bottom and the top. Take your cuticle scissors, and if there's any bulging, simply trim those away. Careful not to cut too deep so that you don't cut your threads. Do this on the bottom and the top. Now, take your voicer, start where the seam is, and start by simply raking across the seam. Now, start on the right side of the seam at the top part of the mallet and poke and pull the outer layer of felt. Start at the top, go to the middle, then go to the bottom. Go all the way around until you've reached the other side of the seam. Now, pat down the top and squeeze a little bit, and voila! You've got yourself a stick. When you're happy with your first mallet, simply repeat all the steps and do the other mallet, and you've got yourself a pair. Once done, test both of them at the timpani to make sure that they match. If one is a bit harder than the other, you might need to voice one or the other to make them even and matching. I hope this was helpful. Any questions? Just go to timgenis.com and go to the contacts page. Shoot me a letter, let me know what the problem is. I'll get right back to you. See ya!